All right, guys. Sports cards nonsense episode. Jesse will insert that later. I don't remember what number we're on, so 10, 11, whatever. We got a couple cool topics. The Tua market's still nasty, still moving. Still some moves to be made there. We're going to talk a little Kyler coming off a huge win against Seattle and that overhyped clown Russell Wilson. CMC, I hate to say it, running backs are a plague. Might be time to buy that dude. Maybe. We got a new release this week, and then we're going back to Pokemon. The Pokemon well. I said we would never get involved. I said I would never buy it. Now I'm sitting here looking at a hollow first edition Charizard. I don't know what's happening in that market. It's nuts. And Anthony Loparo is with us today, who literally sees a PSA 8 Charizard hollow at 2,200 and laughs. This dude's getting ready to clean house on his collection. He's got up for consignment. We're going to get to that at the end of the show, too. So appreciate you joining us, man. I know you're busy breaking and insulting people, so...
Insulting, not so much. Breaking, yeah.
Okay, 50-50. I was half right. Okay. Anthony's with Top Notch Breaks. Make sure you check him out. He's on Facebook. Him and Justin, they're breaking all the time. One of the few breakers who's not an absolute puke or vomit, so that's good. You're 0 for 2 on those departments, which is always nice. So that's about as high a praise as I give. So that's actually...
I'll take it from you.
That's actually pretty good, man. All right, let's jump into it, man. I wanted to get Anthony on here, too, for some of his opinions before we talk about his... and when I say savage Pokemon collection, it's ridiculous. He's going to drop the details here at the end. So Tua's been the hot topic lately. I don't know where you stand. We didn't prep any of this beforehand. I am a huge buy Tua now guy. Where are you at on Tua?
When I watched your episode last week or the other
you
day,
were the viewer. I knew we had one guy, dude.
I honestly, I was watching it with the dude my buddy that packs everything and ships everything. And I said, from everything that I listened to your podcast, that and the John Morant were the top two, even on my list to buy. And I 100% agree with Tua. 100%. Right now is the time to buy. If people aren't buying, I don't know what they're doing.
Dude, that team's competitive too. Everybody's whining and complaining. Why would they bench Fitzpatrick? Fitzpatrick should go back to Harvard and teach a class. He has no business being in the NFL. They're one game out of first. Dude, I think Tua is exciting. The other thing that came up, he's too small, he's too little. Well, me and Loparo both rock about 5'9" with heels, so we're good with the height thing with Tua. It's like anything else, though. He gets hit, he's going to get killed. Fine. Who's not? I mean, I don't even know. That's just a worthless discussion to me. But I like Tua Mosaic. The Mosaic Silver is my thing for a couple weeks until Prism comes in and just takes a jump on the market and destroys everything, not Prism. So, yeah, I like Tua. There you go. Two geniuses telling you to buy him. I agree. His stuff's actually way up over the last 2 or 3 days. As we get closer to his first appearance, they've got a weak schedule, too. I mean,
you drove the market up.
Thank you. I think I did. And here's our motto here. Unlike those morons at Slab Stocks who have 50 trillion more viewers and listeners than us, when I say I'm buying something, I buy it. I don't sell it from a burner account. So my mother doesn't have eBay. There you go. The next thing, this is actually a topic you brought up last week, the Kyler hype. You were saying you think Kyler's undervalued. I'll be honest with you. I struggled up until yesterday. First signature win, or Sunday rather. I mean, to knock off the Seahawks. Seahawks are a legit team as much as I hate them and think they're frauds in the playoffs. That's a legit regular season team. I think there's still room for Kyler to grow value-wise. I'm actually on the Loparo train now.
Honestly, that was huge for them. And
massive win.
I actually fell asleep during that game, and with that DK Metcalf play, I thought for sure they were going to take that as momentum and win that game. But for Kyler to pull out that victory, sky's the limit for this kid. I'm telling you, that's the best player of that draft class. It's like Michael Vick Jr. I know you probably don't want to hear that, but
as long as he keeps it clean with the dogs. I'm a puppy owner now. I don't need Michael Vick antics off the field, but
I truly think that this dude is special. He has all the weapons there. I think he's good, man.
Dude, D-Hop is a monster, by the way. Talk about the fleecing trade of the century. That guy is unbelievable. And Fitzgerald is like 80 years old, still running like Randy. So you mentioned that draft class. I actually still love Drew Lock for the money. Kyler, I think, is the better player, not even close. But for the cash, I think you can get Lock stuff cheap. I've been still trying to pump that up. My God, if he ever does explode, I'm just waiting. I think he's still a buy.
I honestly think that he's right up there with him. I think he's a buy right now more than Kyler. I think Kyler's obviously more expensive. I mean, if you were to tell me that at the beginning of the season, people were on that Drew Lock hype train.
Insane.
And the prices were going crazy, but then it cooled off. That was the time to buy it when it cooled off. No, I don't think a lot of people did. You're probably one of them, right?
One of the few, man. I tried to load up a little bit.
That's smart.
And with him, I tried to keep it to like $100 RPAs. I like small stuff that's easy to move. I try not to get really weird with stuff unless it's like Brady, LeBron, Jordan. But yeah, so I think Kyler's still a buy. I didn't think I'd say it because how expensive he is, but which brings me to the next thing I never, ever say, and I think it's ridiculous when people tell you to do this, buy a running back. I think Christian McCaffrey might be the one dude who kind of sets the bar at that position because he's a receiver playing running back.
I agree. I agree.
I don't know where his market goes. I mean, he's still a running back, the pitcher of the NFL. But if the dude comes back healthy and puts up numbers, and I don't know how they're scoring anyways. I mean, you could be starting for Carolina right now. I mean, it is weird how exciting that offense is despite having almost no talent. So
I mean, I hope I can agree with you with that. We all know that the big sell for football and the big buys are quarterbacks.
All quarterbacks, yep.
All quarterbacks. We've known that for a long time. Hopefully this is a trendsetter to get other position players to sell well.
It's a stretch.
If he comes back and he puts up numbers that he did before he got hurt, absolutely. There's no way that this dude can stay that cheap. For years, for the last couple of years, seeing his prices where they're at, I just don't get it.
It was crazy. Well, and the other position player, too, it was kind of like a perfect storm of garbage that happened this year. CMC got knocked out, and then Michael Thomas. He was like the first receiver guys were really saying, hey, we're going to actually chase this dude. Right. He's unbelievable. He is made of glass. I mean, that guy cannot stay on the field.
If he was healthy, I mean, his numbers are just...
He's as good as anybody.
Right.
Yep. But can't stay healthy. I thought this was going to be the first year where people would kind of reach out for Thomas, reach out for CMC, and then maybe the market would start to expand.
And then look at both players.
Yeah, both of them down. I just don't even know. Honestly, outside of that from position players, if you're buying to like keep it personal collection stuff, I'm all about it. Right. I'm not buying other guys to try to flip. I'm just sticking. I would rather reach at a quarterback. I would rather reach. Right. Honestly, I'm supposed to look in the camera now. I've been given instructions. Buy of the week. I think somebody came up with a name that I can't even say with a straight face. It was so ridiculous. That's fine. I'll be honest on my buy of the week, dirt cheap, Jarrett Stidham. Cam Newton is throwing the ball to everybody who's not wearing a Pats uniform. People love reaching on quarterbacks because they want to get the next guy. Stidham is dirt cheap, and I think he's going to play at some point in that offense. So
I actually have some stuff.
Do you really? Okay, the next Pokemon's wearing a Patriots uniform. Nice. There you go. Maybe it'll blow up. I like Stidham. I don't know if he's good or not, but I don't think it matters.
It's a cheap investment. Why not?
And people still buy Sam Darnold. That donkey is another guy who should be up with Ryan Fitzpatrick bagging groceries. Instead, his stuff is selling for triple figures. Sam Darnold
makes sense.
Dude, that team is worthless, and he is absolutely trash. Same with Daniel Jones. If you've got Daniel Jones stuff, one of two things: bonfire or put in a safe for a couple of years, and maybe the dude resurrects his deadbeat career somewhere because he is horrendous as well.
That's one dude that I truly thought was going to be good.
A lot of people did, man.
Thank God I didn't invest in. The only other guy I invested in that turned out to be good until I sold it was, you know who?
I don't.
Josh Allen.
Oh, yes, I did. I saw the midnight RPA went for insane. So Josh Allen's another guy. We've been saying this for weeks. I think Josh Allen's a buy right now. His stuff's down. Dude, 100%. His Prism PSA 10s, $400 now. Those are going to jump back to $650.
Those are the ones. I knew 2 weeks in a row were going to be the test.
Yeah, Titans Chiefs.
And now it's time to buy.
Yep, yeah, I think he's a good buy too. Speaking of football, Leaf Trinity drops today. I don't know. Are you breaking any Trinity today or not?
I'm in Facebook jail.
Oh, that's right. Nicely done. Gets blocked on Facebook for the day. That's all right. I usually get that, and it's always for something worthless. Always a comment I don't know what I'm supposed to make, so whatever. Okay, so you're not breaking any. I actually like Trinity. Trinity has the nicest patches around every year. It's got stupid patches. You know, you got Burrow, Herbert, and Tua. The RPAs are good. I think it's 5 or 6 autos per box. It's pretty cheap. I actually kind of like it. Last note I have here, 2 other quick things. I mentioned as much football today because I will tell you one market that is absolutely dead right now and that could not be revived by an EMT is the baseball market. Dude, I'm seeing Acuna PSA 10 flagship tops going for $130. Soto's down to $150, $160. Tatis is down. Louis Robert. I mean, everything. And this is with the World Series going on. Everybody not named Randy, Arizona, whatever you want to call him, is literally, dude, trash. I mean, just garbage. I don't think that turns around going to the offseason. Normally, winter ball is like the next, kind of pump up to the market, and then we got, then you've got draft coming out in December. This is the first year I'm actually a little bit curious as to what draft does.
That and was it the next flagship is Topps, right?
Topps update. Yep.
Yeah. And we were just talking about that today, and
I don't know who's in it. Joe Adell's the big name. Joe Adell is more famous this year for having a home run bounce off his face than anything else. So I don't. Yeah, it's a weird time. Bowman's Best will pop in December. Bowman's Best is a good product every year. It's a little more vet driven and rookie as opposed to prospect, but baseball's rough. And then last thing I want to talk to, and then we'll get to the Pokemon Loparo $1 million play here. PSA 9s. This is another thing, guys. We're going to talk about it more on Thursday and Friday. I'm going to have Jesse pull up some awesome graphics, which would be him like clicking the computer and showing pictures, whatever he does. PSA 9 in the Prism world, that's another thing. I still love Ja, Zion, and Luka. Those are my big three. I've never seen more of a disparity on a product from a 9 to a 10. I just think it's foolish. I am all about buying PSA 9s. And when it comes to grading raw, too, I think it's an awesome play. If you're finding raw Prism, a 9 is not that hard of a grade to get, and it gives you a nice premium over a raw card. I almost think buying PSA 9s now because I think one of two things is going to happen. I was talking to Chris Kelsey. He's a grading monster. One of two things. Either PSA 10's got to come down or PSA 9's got to pick up value because the gap is way too wide.
Honestly, the 9s are going to, in my opinion, the 9s are going to pick up. And we were always to the point, months ago where 9s were the same price as raws.
Right.
We're not there anymore, especially with prices to grade and the wait time is so long and so expensive now.
Yeah, there's got to be a premium.
Those 9s are going to definitely pick up. And we've seen it in some instances, but then they went down a little bit. But I think those are going to go up. I think 10s are going to continue to rise, in my opinion. I truly.
Yeah. I don't think anything's coming down. I just think it's nuts. Back in the day, a 10 was 2.5 times raw, and now Prism, you're talking 4 to 5 times raw. I honestly think at some point, to me at this point, it's just pick out the basketball guy you like. Another dude we haven't talked a lot about is RJ Barrett. RJ is the second tier out of that class. I like RJ Barrett better than Tyler Hero, though. I don't think Tyler Hero is going to be a 40-minute starter in the game. He gets hot. He's a streaky player. I just don't love him.
Barrett being at with a big team, like a big money team.
Yeah, big market.
Relevant, his prices will go skyrocket, and you can get his stuff dirt cheap.
PSA 10s are doing 150. PSA 9s are like 50 to 60 bucks. Again, I would just load up on 9s and 10s. If you can't afford a $150 card to wait a month, grab a PSA 9 RJ Barrett. And the Knicks are going to make a trade at some point. They get free agent money. If they bring somebody in, I don't think it's going to take much. So, there's kind of our value stuff. I'm going with the interview this week instead of the rant. See, my next rant was all about how much I hate breakers and their antics. I can't do both. 20 minutes or I'm going to have to shut the feed down. So, no, I'm saving that rant. Plus, I can't yell about breakers while you're here. You might disagree with it, and then I'll have to throw you off the show. It gets awkward. So, it's not your fault. Nobody's fault. All right, so the reason we brought Loparo on, like I said, if you're on Facebook, most social media sites, you've seen, Anthony's just dropped it off, his collection. Actually, go ahead. Do me a favor. Just plug Zachway here, too, because that's who I send people to anyways. Just kind of give us a story.
That came in at DT Sports 87, also a breaker, also a consigner. I just flew out there yesterday to go see him. It's probably the person I trust the most with anything, and they literally run the smoothest transaction, the smoothest. Their team is just unreal, and I got to see it firsthand in their new office yesterday, and I'm so glad that's who I went with. A lot of people question, why didn't you go with PWCC? Why didn't you go? These people are unreal. They can pump things out faster and more efficient than anybody I know. And
not to mention, I'm pretty sure they're not shilling everything under the sun like Protein and PWCC.
I wanted an honest sale, and we don't know if those numbers with PWCC is legit. This, I think, we'll see what it's really about. And right now, the way numbers have been in less than 24 hours, it's unreal.
So when did you jump on the Pokemon train? I know you've been on this for a while.
March or end of March, beginning of April. I started actually buying raw cards in bulk, and they were dirt cheap. And then once I saw, getting those, and I'm like, man, once I got those in hand, and I'm like back to nostalgic things, and it reminded me when I was 9 years old. Then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go invest in a 9. I invested in 9. That was dirt cheap. And then once I saw what 10s were at, I'm like, I got a couple, and I'm like, all right, I'm building this set. So I built the PSA 10 holo set. which I had it intact for a while. Then I sold a couple off, and that I was stupid for that. But then I bought more. But once I saw the popularity again, because I noticed I everybody on Instagram, I started following any Pokemon guru on Instagram. Mostly nerds, and I'm not trying to be mean, but
well, no, they live in their parents' basement. That's fine. Yep.
I started following a bunch of them, and I saw how many followers they had. I saw what I just sat there for like a week straight, on and off, just seeing how they interacted and what numbers were, and I'm like, this has to come back. Sports cards are at an all-time high. If we're in a pandemic and sports cards are this high, I could definitely see people living their pastime with Pokemon. That was the first thing that came to my mind, and I'm like, you know what? I'm all in. I literally went, and over a 2 to 3 month period, I spent $150,000 on stuff, and there was no turning back. And I'm like, it just became an addiction. It really was. I mean, I just started buying sealed wax, stuff that you don't see every day. I mean, there was not a lot of it on there, so I'm like, this stuff has to carry a premium now. I can't imagine what it's going to go for.
So like 150,000 in. Estimate. I know you and Zach met, talked about it, looked at comps, different things. What's in your mind? What's a number you're happy with at the end of the day when it goes off at auction?
To be honest, I guess I'm greedy. But if I was not being greedy, I'm happy with 250 to 300,000.
Okay, don't be a donkey. What's this stuff going to sell for though? Seriously, what's a realistic number?
425 to 450. I know I said 500,000 when we first started, but I held back 1995.
Well, you kept some.
Yeah, I held back.
Nice.
I held back stuff that I felt wasn't at where it should be, and it's something like the first original print run in '95. They have stuff that's not popular right now, but I really think it's an undervalued thing, so I held it back and it's a big chunk of it. So I'm thinking 425, but the way numbers are looking right now, it could actually exceed it.
So when's everything go off? Everything's at auction, just straight auction on eBay, right?
Yeah, so everything's straight auction eBay. I did a 3-day. I wanted it to end as close to PWCC as possible, so that if people miss out on that, then they go right to mine. And I know I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm a firm believer that the pop market's real low right now for Pokemon, considering how old it is, and it's the game was meant to be played. The cards are meant to be played with. So edition wise, we know what that's about. But I just got a pop report back, or some of my stuff that was sappy came back, and I looked at the numbers, and I got a handful of 10s back. So if I got that back, I know other people are gonna get that back. Everybody is making that post to look in your closet. I'll buy your collections or help you. Right. So I truly think that not trying to go off subject, but I truly think that the pop report's going to go up. People are going to see what it's about and see what they're selling for, and I think it's going to get oversaturated. So I wanted to hit it at the right time without being super greedy and take what I can get now, because I truly think it's going to skyrocket. But Thursday, it all ends except one card. I think like it's in 3-minute intervals. So I'm gonna be sweating all night.
Yeah, let me no sleep Thursday night.
No shot.
So that's another thing too. Just real quick, some people have said, well, why don't it's come up with other cards, especially with collections. I'll be honest. I am a firm believer in consignment. So let me ask, when it comes to fees with Zach, it may be different for you in general because it's a huge deal. What kind of fee are you paying somebody like that off the top?
Honestly,
sale price.
It's the same. It's the same as anyone else. I didn't get any special treatment. So I think if I remember correctly, I get 90%. So I know I get that question all the time. Is like, well, why don't you just list it? Well,
you're not going to get. You're not going to get. Well, you're going to pay more than that anyways.
Yeah, 13% or whatever, right. And I don't have his following. So
I think consignment's an awesome thing to do. Actually, I think it's one of the easiest things to do. You find somebody you can trust. Yeah, because in general, if you sell on eBay, if I sell on eBay, it's 10% fee, then 3% from PayPal. And then I got to deal with the bull crap anyways.
Yeah, so they deal with all the crap. They deal with returns. If something gets returned, they don't even tell you about it.
Yeah, you can't beat that. That's not bad at all, especially with something time sensitive like that. I mean, if all of a sudden the market does get somewhat flooded. So let me ask you this then: Pokemon right now still a good buy in your opinion, or you think the trains left the station there?
Certain things are a good buy in my opinion. But I don't think it's fully left the station. They're still banking on that 25-year anniversary, which that's what when I first got into it, that's what really drew me to buy more. Is like the 25th year anniversary is going to come up. They do something nice every like big year, so they already have plans of doing something, and I know they're going to do something. But it's the same thing with anything. You have to sell it before the big thing happens. LeBron, same way. Patrick Mahomes, the same way. Once people know that that's coming, on that very day, they flood the market. So I do think right now is still a time to buy certain things. I still think it's going to go up with all these people spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on boxes and cards and famous people promoting it. It's a win-win. You can still make a ton of money with it. I just don't want to hold the bag too long.
Yeah, I'd say this. The influencer push with Pokemon is already stronger than we've ever seen with the sports card market.
Right.
Like the only thing I ever see with sports cards is a picture of Giannis holding a bunch of his rookie stuff because he went out and bought it. It's not really pumping the market by any means. It doesn't help.
Right.
You get guys like Logic and Logan Paul and Gary Vee talking Pokemon. All of a sudden, stuff starts getting nuts.
Yep.
So that leads me to my last question, and I get this all the time, and I know you do because we deal in the same circles. So what's the next thing? I'll be honest. So to me, there's not. A couple things have been thrown my way recently. We have a mailbag thing, and some guy, is Star Wars the next thing? Because there's a Star Wars trading card. I'll be honest with you. Maybe it could have been, but those movies have come and gone at this point. I'm not sure what the big push and what the big draw is, and how many people our age connect to Star Wars anyways. Like, I don't.
My honest opinion is I think if Star Wars would have been it would have happened.
Would have happened. Yep, I agree.
And a lot of the Star Wars stuff, it's bigger than hand size, and people like small things that are easy to ship, easy to hold, and action figures I don't think are it. I just, if you ask my opinion, I'm still on the video game train, the original sealed video games. But even that's kind of bulky, so I don't think it's going to get as big as I thought it was. But I still think there's room for that to grow. I'm still buying it. Other than that, I honestly think that if you have money to spend, I listened to your podcast last week, and you said you want to give tips to everybody with certain levels of what they can afford.
Yeah.
But if you have money, I think the whole precious metal thing with Jordan, with that kicking off and ending in about 4 days on Golden, that's why I invested all my money into those rare boxes. But other than that, I don't know what the next play is. I truly don't. I've been thinking for a week straight.
Yeah, because I hate, like, comic books. Another thing people say is going to come back. I don't trust comic books. The whole coin market, to me, that's just become a precious metal thing. That's not. So I like the idea. Yeah, again, if we're talking like to the absolute crazy 0.001% of guys who want to drop six figures on crazy stuff, I actually still love football at that price. Brady rookie year sealed stuff, to me, I just feel like he's distinguished himself, from anybody football-wise.
Last week.
Dude, I'm telling you guys, 97 years old, throwing 4 touchdowns. I don't know when it stops. So, but yeah, I just think to me the short-term gains are there. I'm still basketball to me, number one buy. Load up on basketball. Morant, Kobe White's another guy we don't hear about as much anymore. I think he's a great buy. Zion, Luka, all the regulars. The Pokemon thing, there's still some spots in it, but I'm going to be curious to see. So we're actually going to record our next show probably Friday. So I'm gonna have to make sure and check out these auctions, and I'll get the tally up and see what the heck you did. So, anyways, should be good, man. Hey, appreciate you making some time.
Absolutely.
I know you're busy ripping product and going crazy, so we'll have to get you on here again to talk some Prism football when it comes out, because that's another one that has this little guy standing tall. I am pumped about Prism football and loaded up. I think it's going to be monstrous. So
absolutely, me too.
There you go.
I appreciate it, man.
Hey, thank you, Loparo. Hey, guys, that was Anthony Loparo, Top Notch Breaks. This was Mike Gioseffi at Sports Cards Nonsense. Check us out later in the week. Anywhere podcast. I'm still working on this closing line. Anywhere podcast can be found. Or check out the YouTube channel, and we're even on that worthless TikTok thing with a bunch of dancing teenagers. So I don't dance, but we're on there. All right, guys, later.